I want to talk about Oprah. Um, and Oprah talked about the Legends Ball. I seen the Legends Ball. Um, I think that the Legends Ball was. I think Oprah did a great thing with that. Um, because and a lot of them women probably got awards and all that stuff, but I don't think that they probably got the appreciation that Oprah gave them. And not only that, the other people that showed up at the Legends Ball. I think the legends that were there, that she called legends, and then it was youngins. The younger ones that was in the industry. It didn't matter what kind of work they did. They was models, actors, singers, playwrights, poets, you name it. But again, artists. They were artists and stuff like that, and civil rights and stuff like that. But I think that Oprah did a great job. I think she did a great job with that, and that she brought. Only Oprah can bring all of them together. A lot of people in the industry, to women and men, and mostly women in the industry together like that. I think she did a great job with that, and I think a lot of them I think they appreciated Oprah for what she's done with giving them the spotlight, standing up as like treasurers. When their name was called, and that she did the Legends Ball because of a lot of women in the industry, paved the way for her. And I think Oprah knew darn well that they did. A lot of those women were before Oprah. A lot of them came after Oprah. But I think a lot of them paved the way for Oprah to be in the spot that she's in. And I think she knew that. And she couldn't have done it without her. I think the other women, the youngins, were the ones that came. A lot of them came after Oprah. I think she had a lot of them on her show, so they paid. They were on her show, and she had to get those ratings for those people being on her show. So the ones that came after Oprah did a lot for Oprah too. And and let's not forget the people at home. Because the people at home that were watching Oprah, Oprah wouldn't have done it without them. Because she needed the ratings. Oprah. I mean, as much as friends she may have had with the stars and all that stuff, but she couldn't have done it without the fans. That were at sitting home. I mean, a lot of them probably were fans too, but she couldn't have did it without the regular people that were sitting home watching her day after day. But she couldn't have done it without them because Oprah needed the ratings, and without the ratings, you doesn't have a show. And I think that she did a great job. Again, the people that came before her, people that came after her, and the public, the regular people at home watching her, giving her the ratings that she needed. But I think Oprah did a great job with the Legends Ball, because there were I think they appreciated her doing that probably more than the awards she got from the other places. They got from the other places. I think they appreciated Oprah. Not only did Oprah appreciated them, I think they appreciated Oprah for doing what she did, and for them. You know, you know, and I don't think anybody have done that before Oprah. When it came to idolizing them and this, that, and the other, and all this sort of stuff. And I don't think that they have gotten that from anywhere else. I mean, like when it came to the appreciation of the fans. I'm talking about the fans probably bought the CDs and DVDs and music and TV and all that stuff. But I think that because Oprah did that, because Oprah had to be watching them in order to see what they've done. So Oprah was one of the fans of all of those legends. And, she had to see what they have done throughout their careers before her, before Oprah. So Oprah had to see all of that. And I think they appreciated that. A lot of them, I'm kind of glad that a lot of women, other women, like Barbra Streisand and Barbara Walters, Diane Sawyer, showed up there. Because I think legends come in all colors, and I think that Oprah did it for African Americans because, that's where she, I think that's where she had a lot of, she idolized a lot of those women. And I don't think, I think Barbara Walters probably was there, but a lot of them, probably wasn't there, as far as when Oprah was growing up. And so, and all she could see is the black faces, and stuff like that. So I think Oprah looked at that. But I'm kind of glad that Diane Sawyer, Barbara Walters, and Barbra Streisand showed up there to be recognized as legends too. A lot of men showed up as well. I'm glad Sidney Poitier, Smokey Robinson, Obama, a lot of other men, Usher, Tyler Perry. I think a lot of them need to see that, be there too, to see what that looked like, because I don't know if they'll get that. I don't know if the men will get a show like that. I don't know if Oprah would do that, but I'm glad that they showed up there, just in case they doesn't get it. But I think that Oprah did it in her years of being the talk show host that she was, that she had a lot of them on the show, not just women, men too. And you know, and that she could idolize them in those ways, you know, even if they doesn't get a show like she did the women. She did have guys, males on her show that she could idolize and talk about and be with them and stuff like that. So I think she did a great job within her 25-year run. I did miss a lot of Oprah shows, but I did tape a lot of them too. But and you know, and seen a lot of them, but I don't I I think she changed over the years. I think she did a lot of. I think she knew that my boyfriend sleeping with my mother boyfriend sleeping with me and shit, you know, topics like that. She knew that that wasn't going to. I think that probably started off like that, but she knew that that wasn't really gonna make a difference in a lot of people's lives. I think she began to talk about other topics and having stars on the show and stuff like that that would make the show better. And she did. And she did. I think she did a great job with the 25 years that she did. I think, you know, and that and that pushed her to get that network called OWN. You know, so, you know, and she ventured out into doing other stuff and making more money and more money and more money and more money. So, you know, I think she did a great job with, with you know, making herself a commodity. I mean, she's a billionaire, you know, and stuff like that. And she continued to make money and Oprah Winfrey is a business, and you know, and so I think that she continued to do, you know, she could pull out the camera at any time and do interviews and stuff like that, major interviews, not just any interview. She can, I mean, she can pull out the camera at any time and get interviews. I mean, even if she doesn't have a show, I mean, she has a camera, so she can always pull out the camera and get interviews. And you know, I think a lot of people um, uh, um, uh, 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 um, began to like um, uh, 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 um, continue to watch her because I usually go on and see who she interviewed, you know, and stuff like that. But I think that she continued to, you know, grow, you know, with her money and stuff like that. And I, you know, thank God for Oprah. You know, one thing I didn't like what she did when it came to Monique, when she interviewed Monique brother about molesting Monique, she didn't tell her that her mother and I think her father was on the show too. Oprah didn't tell her that. Oprah didn't tell. She called her up. Oprah called Monique up and said, "Is it okay to interview your brother, her brother, for molesting her?" And she was like, "Yeah, but I don't want to have anything to do with it. I mean, if he can help people, this, that, and the other, then go for it." But Oprah did not tell her that her mother and father was going to be on the show. And I mean, she just said the brother, you know, like that. And she said that if she had known that the mother and the father or whatever was going to be on the show, she would have said no, don't do it, you know, and stuff. And she, Oprah didn't tell her. And I was like, I I thought, I was like, man, why didn't she tell her that? Why didn't she tell her that, though? I mean, like, because you kind of see, like, was that something that if she had told her, then she knew that there would not be a show like that? And did she not tell her because she knew that there would not be a show? I, I was like, man, because I thought that, she would have been on the up and up with Monique. I thought that she would have been on the up and up with Monique, because anytime she called her and tell her, say, hey, I got your brother here. He want to talk about the sexual molestation of you or whatever. If she called her up enough to tell her that to ask her that, why didn't she tell her that her mother was on the show? Her mother was going to be on the show too. Why didn't she tell her that? And I was like, why didn't she tell her that? And I was like, did she know that Monique would have said no? That's why she didn't tell her that her mother was going to be on the show. I don't know. But why didn't she tell her that? I think because Monique, said that if she had told her that she would have told her no, don't air it, don't do it. And I was wondering, like, I think we think we know those stars, and we really doesn't. And I was thinking that, Oprah would have been on the up and up and told her, hey, I got your brother here, but your mother and father or whatever wants to come too, and to not tell her that was like, I was like, man, I would think, watching her for over the years, but that she would tell Monique that. She wouldn't have kept that a secret, like, until it aired. But again, we think we know those stars, and we really doesn't. We think we know them just because they be on the that tube. We think we know them, and and we really doesn't. We really doesn't know those stars, and I think that Monique thought that that she was on it. That she was on the up and up. I mean, that Oprah was brave enough to call her, but she wasn't brave enough to tell her that her mother was going to be on there too. I mean, like, I don't know, like, why would she not tell her that? And Monique talked about that Oprah knew that she was having problems with the mother. She said that before the show, before that show aired, she said that her and Oprah talked about their mothers and stuff. So she knew that Monique had problems with her mother, and she did not tell her that the mother was going to be on the show. And you would think, you know, and then she asks her, you know, about that. You know, why did you have my mother? Why didn't you tell me that my mother was going to be on the show and this, that, and the other, and all this sort of stuff. You know, and 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 Monique felt that that she, you know, was dishonest with her about that, and you know, but I don't know. You really can't go with them damn stars, man. That's why I don't look at them. I really doesn't look at them as anything special. I really doesn't. I mean, I think they got gifts. I think they have talent. I think they do have that. But I don't think that they are anything special. They're just like any other human being, only different, they got money. You know, and I think we look at them as different. We do. We look at them as different. And they're not different. You know, and they are not different. And you know, because they have faults, they have good and bad things about them as well, just like regular, they just like regular people. And I think that we just don't want to look at them like that, but we doesn't want to look at them as regular people. But they is. I mean, like, you know, of course they got money. Of course they can go around the country and this, that, and the other, and all this sort of stuff, and with money and stuff like that, because they got money. And the reality of it is that you know, it's just that. It's just that. Of course they got money. But what does that mean? I mean, like, they still have behaviors just like anybody else. Yeah. And you know, and you know, and that's a real deal of that. You know, they you know, they have behaviors just like anybody else. And but we think that they these gods or something, you know, and they really isn't. They're not gods, you know. I think we put those stars up on pedestals, man, and they climb right up on there, and they doesn't know how to come down from that. And I think that is special. I think because of that, I think that when they are stars, they doesn't like really want to be treated like normal people because they stars. And the reason I say that is this. When they get in trouble, or when they are faced with interviews or whatever, like when they get in trouble, they pay all this fucking money, and because they got money, and then they get this defense attorney, and then and they go around terrorizing fucking people, and then they want their money to help get them out of it. I mean, they go around doing all kinds of crazy shit because of their behavior, and then they use their money to, and the defense attorney, to get them out. And the regular Joe Blow is in prison. But some of the stars gets away with it because of the star, and the star, and because of the money factor. And and some of them gets away. Some of them go to prison, but some of them gets away too. And because of the star. And they think they're untouchable because of the star. And the reason I'm gonna go on, I think this is a prime example. I'm using Whitney as a prime example. And for one, I think the stars are the biggest examples to use in the public, because the public knows that star all over the world, as opposed to Timothy in Chicago, the public might not know him all over the world. But if you use a star, the public knows that person all over the world. And so I think they are the examples to use whenever whatever they are doing in their lives, whether it's their professional life, their personal life, and whatever they're doing. You can use, God uses them as examples, and so getting back to when they get in trouble and shit like that, they use their fucking money. They go around terrorizing people and shit like that, and then they use their fucking money to help them get, and the defense attorney to help bail them out and shit like that, and some of them get away and some of them doesn't. But and then they doesn't want to be treated the same way because they're a star. And I think Whitney Houston is I'm gonna use her as an example just to show that when she was doing Diane Sawyer, and she didn't want to admit that she was an addict. And I think that because she did not want to, what she said was that she had a bad habit. Like that. She didn't want to admit that she was an addict. And I remember thinking, when I'm looking at this interview, that she may have a tough time getting clean. And not just because she didn't want to admit it. It was just because maybe she doesn't want to stop. And and not just because she didn't want to, not only she didn't want to admit that she was an addict, that she didn't want to stop either. And because of those two things, I was like, man, I remember thinking, man, I think she may have a tough time getting clean. And you know, because again, you know, and I don't know if Whitney ever like really got into the recovery. I think she went to rehabs and stuff like that, but I'm not sure if she stepped away from the spotlight to really be about recovery. I don't know if she ever did that, because I don't think she would have made the statement that she made, where she talked about she didn't want to be like them. Like when Diane Sawyer read one of the articles that Whitney had died or something like that or whatever, and she said I wanted to quit and this, that, and the other because I didn't want to be like them. Like, and I think in a way that she like was like saying, hey, I did not want to be an addict. Like, I didn't want to be like them. Like, I thought that there again she did not want to admit that she was an addict, but then she separated herself from it, like as if she was not one of them. And I think that, Whitney was one of them. But she said that she didn't want to be like them. But she was one of them. And I think that it was like offensive if anybody really was looking at what she said when she said that. I think it was offensive. I think that I know that she had a lot of people, maybe even drug users, even people in recovery that was her fans. And to say that, I think was in a way offensive, because she did not want to be one of them. Like that, like it's so terrible being one of them, like that. But she was actually one of them, and I think it was offensive. But then I also understood that I don't think she realized what she said. What when she said it, I don't think she realized what she was saying when she said it. I think she was just saying she didn't want to be like them because, she wanted to get her life back together. But I don't think that she realized what she said when she said it. And but I think that I also realized that I don't think again I don't think she realized what she was saying. I don't think that she really got if she really knew what recovery was really about. I don't think she would have said what she said. And that was my thought. I don't think if she really knew what recovery was really about, she wouldn't have said what she said. So I had to give her a pass with that. But I must admit it was offensive. But again, I think she, but again, I think them stars, they set themselves aside, man. You know, um, when they have the same problems as regular people, they just have money, and that's how I look at them. They just have more money, but they just have the same behaviors as regular people, and we can't look at them any different. And that's why I don't look at them different, because they have the same behaviors as regular people. And we can't put them on pedestal, because then they think they're different than the regular people. They think they're different than the regular people because they got all this money and stuff like that. And then they get in trouble, and they get all these defense attorneys and shit like that, and help them out, they bail them out and shit like that. And they go around terrorizing fucking people and shit like that. And then they use the defense attorney and their damn money to help them get out. You know, and shit like that. And here, the regular Joe Blow is in prison. If they had did the same crime. You know, and shit like that. And they, and I seen a lot of them. The behaviors and stuff like that, and a lot of them use their money and the defense attorney to help get them out, and stuff like that. And I think it's unfair, because they are so quick to lock the regular Joe Blow up, but not the star. The star run and get that money, and the defense attorney that bail them out, and shit like that. And I think the stars uses that to play on, here the public build their asses up, and then when it comes time for them to be in court and shit like that, and they play on the sympathy of the build-up, and shit like that. Like they hit the public and build their asses up by buying all their shit, or watching their shows and music and this, that, and the other, and all this old shit. And then soon they get their asses in court and shit like that, and they play on that like violence. They play on it like violence. And they play on that celebrity thing like violence. Well, I'm still the celebrity. Y'all built me up. Y'all made me this star, remember? Don't you remember y'all made me this star? And shit like that. And y'all made me this star. Why can't I be a star? Like, y'all built me up. Y'all built me up. Y'all built me up to be a star, remember? Then y'all build me up to be a star. Then y'all build me up to be a star. What happened? You don't like the star anymore? And shit like that, And and they play on that. They certainly play on it. And they use the defense attorney to bail them out, man. Bail, and bail. Bail them out, man. Bail them out. Like that. And they play on that. And that's what they do, man. And shit like that. And they tend to like separate themselves. Well, I'm not like them. I may be a drug addict, but I may use drugs, but I'm not an addict. the addict on the cardboard box is an addict, and an addict in Hollywood in a house is probably the same fucking addict. But again, because they look at it because they got that money, they got a house. They didn't spend all their fucking money. Like the person on the cardboard box probably spent up all his fucking money. But not the drug addict in the house in Hollywood. The one in the house is probably got his house, and probably got money in the bank, and probably, you know, it's probably not showing on that physical frame yet. But then after a while, when the money start to go and it starts showing on the physical frame, and then, you know, he start looking at like the one on the cardboard box. You know, and shit like that, and they tend to separate themselves. You know, like that, and you know, like that, they tend to separate themselves, and you know, and you know, like that. You know, they tend to separate themselves. You know, and you know, they tend to separate themselves, and like man, you know, and oh shit. Yeah. Yeah. Well, they tend to separate themselves. You know? Yeah. You know, they tend to separate themselves, man. You know? But you know? But again, man, it's something, man. But again, you know, it's something when you think about it. But again, it yeah. But hey, you know, but again, you know. You know, but again, man, it is what it is, though. You know, but again, you know, it is what it is. You know, but again, when they separate themselves, they doesn't think they have a problem, man. You know, They doesn't think they have a problem, but they do, and because they stars, they doesn't think they have a problem, and 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 they uh, uh, um 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 let me see they doesn't let me see. It doesn't think they have a problem though. Yeah. Yeah. Boom, 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 boom. Yeah. But again, man, I don't know. I think that that they do. I think that yeah, because and they think that they shouldn't be in trouble, or they shouldn't be locked up as other stars should be, and stuff like that, and you know, they doesn't think they should be locked up. Even with the money that they have, and shit like that. And I'm like, man, that because I don't know. They think they're different. They just think they're different, and really they isn't. They have talents, they have gifts and stuff like that. Yeah, yeah, you do. But I don't think they anything different. They're not anything different than the regular Joe Blow, and shit like that. Um, you know, stuff like that. I don't know. I think we give them passes, and shit like that. But I think they think that money is going to save them, though. I think they think their money is going to save them. Like, and I think they think their money is going to save them. Like, I think they think their money is going to save them. Yeah, but I don't really think that. But again, it's not going to get them out of addiction. It's not going to give them, even if they use money, even if they go to court and this, that, and the other, and all this sort of stuff. It's not going to, the money factor, the defense and money, that is not going to stop their behavior, and shit like that. I mean, like, just because they got a defense attorney and money, that don't mean it's going to stop their behavior. Like that. That don't mean it's gonna stop their behavior. You know, but I think they again they run to them like it is like it is going to stop it and stuff and what we see is that it doesn't. And what we see is that it doesn't stop it. We think it does. We think that it does. You know, I remember when I think when Cosby when he did settle with her, Andre Constant, you know, with the case and stuff like that. He did settle with her and did the deposition and did and he was given that promise thing, even though Cosby was acquitted. I mean he got out later. But the thing was is that when that did happen back in 2005, when that did happen, when he was when she said he sexually assaulted her, and then the promise and the deposition and the settlement, that didn't stop Cosby from sexually assaulting. I mean, it probably stopped with her, but it didn't stop him from doing that. And so, again, it's not going to stop. I don't care how many defense attorneys, courts, and all of that. It's not going to stop them from doing the behavior that they in court for. You know, like that, because it didn't stop Cosby from sexually assaulting. It stopped him from sexually assaulting her, but it didn't stop him from sexually assaulting women. Like, you would think there'd be enough because it brought news, it brought him into news. He settled with her, you know, he did the deposition and stuff like that. Even though the deposition was, you know, it spilled, Cosby spilled his guts out in that deposition. You know, and then he got it sealed, but that wasn't enough for him to stop sexual assaulting. So that's what I'm saying. When they get these defense attorneys and they get they use their money, but it didn't stop them from doing the behavior that they were in court from the beginning. It didn't stop Cosby from sexual assaulting, though. Even though he paid the settlement, he spilled all his guts, he was given the promise that he would never be prosecuted in the future. That didn't stop him from sexually assaulting women. Like, and again, they get the defense attorneys, they run around sexually assaulting people or doing all kinds of crimes to women or whatever, and then they have the money and they think they're going to get the defense attorney to help them bail them out. Like that, because of their behavior. Like, and then it doesn't even stop at, like, it doesn't stop them from sexually assaulting. I mean, it just got them out, you know, for that particular case. But it didn't stop Cosby from sexually assaulting women in the future. It didn't stop him from doing it. You would think he spilled his gut out in the deposition. You would think because he paid the settlement. You would think because he had the promise. You would think that he would stop the behavior, but he didn't. So getting a defense attorney and paying money, that's not going to stop him from continuing sexual assault. It got him out for that case at that time. I mean, of course she tried to bring charges with him later, but it was only stuck to her. It wasn't. He continued sexual assault other women. Like, It didn't stop him from doing it. You know, like that. Even if he paid his money out, even if he did that damaging deposit, even if he was given that promise and stuff like that. And if he doesn't control himself, he'll probably do it again. Even if he's out walking around. In 2022. If he doesn't control his behavior, he'll do it again. Even if he went through all this stuff, where he gets out and everything like that, and if he doesn't control that, he'll probably do it again. Years later. We don't know. We just gotta wait and see. But he probably can do it again if he wants. If he doesn't control that. But people, and stuff like that, and again, it has nothing to do with that fucking star stuff. The behaviors doesn't have anything to do with that star stuff, man. Nor does that money. That behavior and that money doesn't have nothing to do with that behavior. Right. It has nothing to do. If he wants to sexually assault women, that star stuff has nothing to do with that. That star stuff doesn't have anything to do with him wanting to sexually assault. I mean, of course he is a star. But hey, if he wants to sexually assault, if he gets the opportunity to do it, he'll do it. And it has nothing to do with the star stuff. Nor his money. He wants to satisfy his biological urge, divorce court woman says. You want to satisfy a biological urge? Has nothing to do with the star stuff or his money. Like that. If Whitney wanted to use drugs, that probably has nothing to do. I mean, it has something to do with her wanting to buy drugs, but it has nothing to do with her wanting to, if she wants to use drugs, she will use drugs, and it has nothing to do with the star stuff, and it has nothing to do with her having all this money. It has nothing to do with either one. She's just trying to satisfy a biological urge to use drugs. It's not about that star stuff. It's not about that money, how much money you have. It's not about either one. Because a lot of people don't even have a lot of money. So it isn't about that use drugs. And a lot of people are not stars. A lot of people doesn't have a lot of money. So it isn't about either one of them when it comes to drugs. They're just trying to satisfy a biological urge that tempts them to use drugs, or tempt them to have sex or rape or whatever. And it has nothing to do with the star stuff. It has nothing to do with their money. They're trying to satisfy a biological urge, whether it's to use drugs, to rape, sex, whatever. Like that. And I think we think because it's about that star stuff. And it really isn't. Like and people would throw up that star stuff real quick. When they stars and shit like that, or they have a lot of money and shit like that, they're quick to throw that up. I make all this money, and you know how big a star I am, and this, that, and the other, but you're still a fucking drug addict, man. Come on. You're just like a drug addict off the street, man. But again, because they stars, they think they better than. Like, they think they better than because they stars. They have a lot of money. They think they better than a drug addict off the street because they're a star, and they have more money. Right. You strip away that damn money and that star stuff, what do you have left? What do you have left? I mean, you're just a regular old human being. I mean, come on, man. But again, I think because we put them up on pedestals, man, and they just don't know how to come down from it, man. And because we treated them like that, then it goes to their head, and then they think they beyond untouchable. Like, they're untouchable. Like, when it comes to, like they're untouchable. When it comes to, them getting in trouble or being, just the same as a regular human being, and thinking that they untouchable because of that star stuff. And because we buy their records, we go see them in the concert halls and this, that, and the other, no matter what job they have in entertainment. But again, they think because we buy their stuff and they get all this money and everything, and they think they all that in a bag of chips and a Diet Coke and all that sort of stuff, and they beyond untouchable. Because we bought all their stuff. We buy their tickets, and they made all this money off of us. And they become stars. And then they doesn't even think that they're regular people anymore. Like that. They doesn't think they're regular people anymore. I mean, human anymore. They act like they come from outer space somewhere. Like that. Because and that's the truth of that, man. Until they and here's where the reality come in. When they ask is in the court of law. This is where they come in reality with it. That they're human. Like, when they're in the court of law, man. And they are threatening to put them in prison, This is when they come down from outer space and they land on Earth. This is where they were living in outer space until they're in the court of law and they come right back down to Earth. Like, and that's the only way I can describe because that is the treatment that we gave them by buying all their stuff and interested in all their stuff and made them rich and famous, and they climb up on the pedestal and they go all the way up in space. And then soon they're in a court of law, they realize they're human, and then they come right back down the earth. And they're in earth now because they're in a court of law. Like, and they just as human as anybody else, man. You know? Like that. And they're just as human as anybody else. And you know, and stuff like that. And I think we did that. By making them stars. We did that. And shit like that. I mean, part of it, but some of them just go beyond, you know, that famousness. But I think that we played a part in that because, you know, they act like they untouchable, man. You know, they get to the point where they're untouchable. I mean, they think they untouchable, you know, and shit like that. And again, as soon as they in trouble or whatever, and they come down, they come from outer space, and then they come back down to earth, and they realize they just as human as anybody else. You know, like that. They was human before they became the stars, but then once they became stars, and then everybody started buying their shit and treating them like stars and shit, and then they go all the way out in space some damn where. And then, you know, and they think they're untouchable at that point until they're in a court of law. And then they come down to space. I mean, come down to Earth. Like that. You know, like that. And that's the way it is, man. That's the way it is, you know. But, you know, but we can't. That's not what, just with Cosby or Whitney. That's with a lot of them that be like that. I think some stars, you know, become stars and they live their lives and doesn't get in trouble and this, that, and the other and all this sort of stuff. But then, you know, but I think God used those stars as examples, like, to the public. Whether what they do as their jobs or their public, or what they do in their personal life and stuff, and then what they do out there in that public, you know, and stuff like that. And God used them as examples because they know all over the world. It's not like Timothy in Chicago. Well, Timothy in Chicago, a lot of people don't know him all over the world. But if you pick a star, they know that person all over the world. Like that. People would know if there's a star who's a big star, and they probably know him all over the world. And God can use him as an example for the whole public to see. Like that. Because whatever that person do in the public life, I mean the public life, it's going to be shown all over the world for the world to see, because the news outlets are waiting for a story. That's it is. So So then, he'll his life is right out there in the public, man, and he can't run from it or nothing. You can't say, "Hey, I want the fame and fortune," but not the news outlets shining the spotlight on you. You can't have it both. I mean, you can't have it one way. You gotta have it all the way. If you want to put yourself in the spotlight, man, the news outlets is part of the spotlight. You can't have one part without the other part. Like that, and stuff like that. And some of them still want to be private and all that. Once you step outside of that mansion of yours, it's fair game for paparazzi. Paparazzi is on the prowl. Paparazzi is on the prowl. Pictures, news, whatever. And stuff like that. And they think they different, man. And they not. And they're not. Like that. But different, man. But again, they think there is, but there isn't. And but there isn't. And I think it's sometimes it's different for females than males, but I think it's all of them, because I think some females, they're more settled, but still they still get in trouble, and stuff. But I think you see a lot of males get in trouble and stuff like that, and stuff like that. But I notice everybody getting talk shows now. Everybody getting talk shows. And they're targeting the younger generation. They're not. They usually will get the older, but not now. They target the younger ones, with talk shows. Nick Cannon, he was just canceled, but he had a talk show. Jennifer Hudson, she get ready to get a talk show. Jennifer Hudson. Kelly Clarkson, American Idol, got her a talk show. And they're not targeting the older generation with the talk shows now. They're targeting the younger ones now. Everybody can get a talk show now. And shit like that. And they're looking to see what will work. Like, what will work, and who will it work with? Like, like that. They're using, and I noticed that they're using anybody that is no matter who they is more famous than the others. Like, they'll use the ones that's out that has the more spotlight. They'll use those ones, not the ones that doesn't really have the spotlight. I mean, they stars, but they doesn't really have that much spotlight. They're not looking for them. They're looking at the ones that has the more spotlight. And I'm gonna use Whitney Houston again. The reason why Kevin Costner chose Whitney Houston to be the bodyguard, and the bodyguard, because they looked at the top of the charts and seen who was at the top of the charts at the time. And not only that she is a singer, Not only that she's a singer, but who's at the top of the charts right now? You know, and shit like that. And that got a fan base all across the board. They looked out there and seen who was out there that got a fan base across the board that is at the top of the charts, and that he was willing to kiss at the end of that movie. Kevin Costner. Kevin Costner looked out there to pick the singer for The Bodyguard. He looked out there, looked at the top of the charts. What singer was out there at the top of the charts who can sell records, who sell records across the board, meaning to white, blacks, Hispanic, Chinese, who sold records across the board, and that he was willing to kiss at the end of that movie. Like that. And who did he come up with? Miss Whitney Houston. Like that. That wouldn't have been like really hard to guess, because she was at the top of the charts at the time, and she was selling across the board. So that means that if she was selling across the board to whites, black, and Hispanic and Chinese, then if she was selling records like that, she can sell movies like that. I mean, like whether it's DVD, VHS tapes, or come to the movies, you know, and shit like that. So they would flock all to the movies, whites, blacks, Hispanic, and Chinese, to go see The Bodyguard, or even buy VHS tapes or DVDs, because she sold across the board, and that she can sing, and that he had to pick somebody he was willing to kiss at the end of that movie, like that. You know, and you would say, like, well, why didn't he pick Diana Ross? Why didn't he pick Aretha? Why didn't he pick Barbra Streisand? Why didn't he pick Celine Dion? Why didn't he pick, who else was out there? Christine Aguilera, or whatever her name is. Why didn't he pick those? And the other reason why he picked Whitney Houston, because she was black. Because she would draw the blacks, and he would draw the whites. I mean, Whitney Houston had, again, he picked her because she was black, because he knew that she would draw some of the blacks. But Whitney Houston was drawing everybody, you know, based on the record sales. She was, a lot of races were buying her. So it didn't matter, like, what her, I mean, you know, what race Whitney Houston was. I mean, in a way it did, but because a lot of people were buying her records across the board. Again, he picked her because she was black. Not only that she was black, but she was selling across the board too. He had to find somebody, if he wanted to go black, he had to find someone who was selling across the board. And that happens to be Whitney Houston at the time. And that he was willing to kiss at the end of the movie. Come on, Whitney. Come on, baby. You know, I know that you're going to sell millions of this movie. Millions is going to flock to the movies to see you sing Miss Whitney Houston. Millions. They're either going to flock to the movies, buy the VHS, or buy the DVD, and the soundtrack. Come on, Whitney, and to seal the deal, let's get off that plane and run to me so I can give you a big old kiss. Because this is going to seal the deal. Because I know that you're going to make me a lot of money. So to seal the deal, here's a big old kiss. Like that. And at the end of the movie, remember when she gets off the plane and runs to his ass? Well, to seal the deal, because I know you get ready to make me millions, if not billions. But to seal the deal, here's a big old kiss. And this is my thank you for getting ready to make me millions of dollars. Thank you, Whitney Houston. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Like that. Again, he had to pick somebody that he was willing to kiss at the end of the movie, too. Boom, 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 boom. Yeah, he was willing to kiss Whitney Houston. He looked at the top of the charts and seen that she was selling to whites, black, Hispanic, and Chinese. And then, he knew that she was selling across the board, so that way he could make a lot of money with that and shit like that, So if she's selling a lot of records, and hey, she can sell a lot of movies like that. She can sell a lot of movies too, and shit like that. And I think, did he make the right choice? Yes. I think he made the right choice by choosing her. To make millions. I think he made the right choice. Choosing Diana Ross or Aretha or anything like that, he knew that. He wanted someone to sell across the board, not just to the white, blacks, and Hispanic and Chinese. The younger, because at that point Whitney wasn't that old, like that. She wasn't really that old. I think Whitney Houston was probably in the late 20s, like that. So she wasn't really that old. When she made that movie, and shit like that. So the younger generation is still buying her records, So he wanted to pick somebody, that was selling across the board, even with the age range. I mean, like that. And I imagine that she did so to the older generation too. With the Bodyguard, and records, and stuff like that. So I think, did he pick the right choice with Whitney? Yep, he picked the right one, and she did. I think he picked the right one when he did it. But again, that's how they do it. They do it with rappers, and they take rappers and put them in movies and shit like that, and they're really not trying to make it like the movie could be about shit. It don't necessarily have to be really making any point. It could be useless as long as they can use any rapper or anybody that was willing to do a movie, and because they looked at the charts and seeing what rapper is out there that's making a lot of money, what's his name, where is that, and shit like that, and they'll use them too. They'll use rappers, and movies with major stars. They put them in the movie with major stars. Stars that have been out there 20 and 30 years and shit like that. And the stars saying, hey, look, I don't want to the rapper coming in devaluing my work that I did for 20 and 30 years because you wants to put him in the movie, and shit like that. I mean, they go to war with that. And stuff like that, because usually they only using the rapper because he's selling a lot of records. That's why they want to use the rapper. And the person that's been acting in 20, 30 years and saying, hey, shit, you want to use the rapper in our movie, and stuff like that, and trying to make him the star and all this whole stuff. And that business doesn't even care about putting the rapper in with major movie stars. That person that wants to do that movie doesn't care about putting a rapper in there as long as it sells. They're not really looking at the importance of the movie. They just looking at the sale of the movie. That movie can be about shit. Or it maybe can be about something, but because they put the rapper in there, and they put the rapper in there to try to make the sales. And it could devalue or even value the film. But they doesn't care whether it devalue or value, long as it sells. They doesn't really care about whether it devalues, it's not worth nothing, or it's worth something. They don't give a shit whether it's worth something or it isn't worth anything, just long as it sells. It doesn't care who they try to throw in there to make the sale. They doesn't care. They doesn't care about that. Not at all. And a lot of the old, when they do that, the actors that's been out 20 and 30 years complain about that. But Hollywood doesn't care about that. They trying to make money. They don't care about how important or not important that movie is. They don't give a shit about how important, or it ain't even important movie or anything like that. It wasn't. If the movie is probably ain't really about shit, they doesn't really care. Long as it sells, they don't really care about it being an important movie or not an important movie. They don't even care about that. All they care is about how well it sells. Like that. They doesn't care about that. And that's how it is now. It's not about picking and going back and reaching in and getting stars, movie stars for movies now. Shit, they look at see who on the top of the charts, like that. Music charts, people that never act before or nothing, like they'll use them. That never act before and nothing, and put them in the movie, like that. They never even act before, and stuff like that. They'll pick people. They even pick people off American Idol and put them in the movie. Man, they doing all kinds of ways, and then I think sometimes they doesn't want to use the old actors because they are using the young ones. They always reach for the young ones now. They're not reaching for older ones now. They're reaching for young ones. To put the younger people, whether it's American Idol, into movies, the young generation into talk shows, be the host of talk shows now. They're not going for the old ones, older people anymore. They're not going with them anymore. They looking for the young ones now. They targeted the young people now. I mean, for talk show hosts and stuff like that. They're not even targeting older people anymore. Ellen DeGeneres, I don't even think she has the show anymore. They're putting young people on the shows now. And talk shows now. I think the View and the Talk better watch out. Because they sort of try to add younger people onto the show, the View and the Talk, you know, to bring in the younger generation and stuff like that. But the ones that have the talk show by themselves, is they're young people. They're not middle age or anything like that. They're younger than that. They like in their 20s, 25, 20, 25, somewhere around there. You know, like that. They're 25. You know, they're not using the 40 or 45-year-old, 50-year-olds talk show hosts anymore. They're not using them anymore. They're talking. They doing a younger generation now. They giving them talk shows and shit like that. And, you know, and shit like that. But in a sense, I don't blame them. I don't blame them because that's what's in now. That's what's in now. Because the talent shows are doing the same thing. They're targeting the younger generations. They're not looking for older people to you know, 40-year-olds and 45-year-olds and 50. No, they're not looking for them to be talk show hosts and anything like that. They targeting the younger generations. I mean, you know, even the late night ones. I'm surprised they still got their jobs. You know. And you know, and stuff like that, but they're looking for the younger generation to have the talk shows now. They're not looking for Whoopi Goldberg. Whoopi Goldberg is, you know, I know she's up in age and stuff like that, and they try to bring on new younger people to sit at the table and stuff like that. But the ones that got the shows by themselves, they're younger generation. They're not the older ones like Whoopi or Cheryl Underwood and stuff like that. They're looking for younger ones. They're not looking for the older ones anymore. You know, like that, and stuff like that. You know, if they can, but again, Hollywood changed, man. You know, I just knew that they started to change around the 2000s when they brought in all the realities. They started all the soap operas were off the TV. Game shows, most of them were off. I think The Price is Right was left. The talk show. By the 2000s, I'm not. I think Oprah was still there, but I'm not sure if Ellen DeGeneres was there about 2000. She probably came later, but the early 2000s. But again, all the reality shows start coming. You see TV's change. All the soap operas are going off TV too. You know, they got a couple more left. You know, but a lot of them were gone. You know, by the early 2000s and stuff like that. And then you're seeing TV change. You know, with the reality shows and stuff like that, and they tried to change a lot of TV by bringing in, different type shows and this, that, and the other. And Queen Latifah and Arsenio Hall tried to do a throwback from yesteryears. That didn't work. When Arsenio Hall had the show back in the 80s, it was a different time. That was a different time. But he tried it in around 2013, somewhere around there, 14. I think he had a couple of shows, but it didn't work. It's a different time now. Yeah, different time. Queen Latifah tried the same thing, man. It was a different time when she did it in the 90s. And she tried to do it again. Didn't work. It was a different time. And people are into more different type stuff and stuff like that. But it was again, the 80s, 90s, 70s, 80s, 90s was a different time than the 2000s and stuff like that. It's a different time. And they try to, what the networks are trying to do is they're trying to see what works. Because they've been having a lot of cancellations and stuff. And they're only trying to see what will work. They're trying all different type stuff. And trying to see what works. But I think the cable stuff, I think it worked it when the cables came out in the 80s. And when they first came out, the cable companies came out in the 80s and stuff like that. And and I think it died down later. I think the cable companies came up with all kinds of packages. You can buy this, get that, buy this package. Then they start adding new channels, the music channel, the jazz, all kind of R&B channel, jazz channel, gospel channel. I mean, movie channel. I'm putting all these damn channels in and putting all these packages in, just to keep the public interested, and shit like that. All kinds of channels and jacking up the prices and everything, and shit like that. They're trying to keep the public interested. And they come up with all kinds of the painting shows, the cooking shows, the hospital channels or whatever, and all kinds of stuff just to keep the public interested. And what happened is later, I think it worked for a while, but then people start canceling. I think the cable companies took a hit, and but I think people were just going with the internet. It wasn't going with the cable, and people was saying, hey, just give me the internet. And then what they did was say, well, we're going to lose some money, with the cables being cut off, so we're going to have to jack up the price for the internet, and shit like that. And that's how they make some of that money back, man. They jack up the price for the internet. And they try these three deals: the phone, the internet, and TV, and shit like that, the phone, internet, and TV, and shit like that, and then after a while, people just wanted the internet. They had to get it through the phone, but still,